Alright, I'm gonna do a video like this because I'm chilling. I'm out of town working, but we talk about withdrawals and like recovery. Well, it's not. See, this is the whole thing is with me. Is my experience, just like your experience, is gonna get you out of the hole that you're in. Okay, but it's very tricky trying to find that experience because we don't identify. We run from certain events in our life that really we try to forget about. But in order to get better, you've got to face that head on and show humility, and you've got to overcome it. You know, it's because there's certain things in our lives that we don't want to talk about, but you have to. You've got to find somebody, a stranger, you know, in a recovery system that knows. And you've got to spill your guts. You know, because even whenever I was drinking, I mean, I guess I knew I had some kind of a problem because I was always the one partying all night long. All night long. You know, but I really did. I did quit the drugs, and then, you know, the alcohol, the program of the alcohol was already intact. Because they know statistically that a large number of us are going to be hit, you know, with the glorification of it. And those statistics that are hit, that percentage, are going to go to death or rehabs, detoxes, you know, hospitals, and all that other stuff. And they're going to make this system a lot of money. And then the whole time, see, this is one thing I didn't understand is that we are made of cells, you know, and they don't give you no cell salts in anything that I went through. And that's what I'm into, and people don't understand them. And because in our heads, it's always, you know, we're going to go somewhere, and that's not you. The thing is we got to look within, you know, because even like some of my introduction to AA and drugs groups and stuff was getting into trouble through, you know, getting caught with selling weed or DUIs and stuff like that. You know, because I remember I always made fun. I was that young, dumb, stupid boy in there bragging, you know. Yeah, I'm an alcoholic. Under my breath, or talking about it at a party or something, going, yeah, I had to go to, you know, class today. Man, hell yeah. It's so crazy on how I dogged something that I ended up going right through at the end. That saved me. Because I always got just a little bit of, I only got enough tools to last, you know, couple of months, couple of years, because the relapses. So you can go for a while statistically. Some people it's different, but statistically, you'll go for a while without drinking. Everything will be good. And then you'll relapse. Or some things will happen. Slowly it'll just get bad. But you'll relapse and it'll be bad. You might go off on people. Tear shit up. You know, you might think you can handle it and then slow down but still drink. And then eventually quit again, only to relapse again. But worse, you know. And then the relationship with the alcohol becomes priority. My whole existence was around alcohol. It was beyond a marriage. You know, it was a fantasy. You know, but it was real. because the alcohol is meant to do what it did. You know, and then my higher power calls for me to do what I do for him because of what he's done for me. And that's the thing is you make a deal and you can't go back on it, because if I go back on it, then I lose everything. And seeing I already know what's in those bottles, because I can go back and remember some of the relapses, but I wrote out all of my as much as I could of getting into trouble. And I wrote out a 19-month, towards my last 19 months of alcoholism, but of the spirit of alcohol. It killed me basically, but you know, there was a bunch of detoxes and then rehab, and I think ICU was in there twice. So, you know, the relapses went from a relapse of, you know, cussing everybody out to a relapse of eventually being in ICU. So the next time relapse is going to be death, you know. Because the last time I went in, I said, man, I was crying, and my sponsor, my brother Mike, black guy, love him to death. You know, we got together and he showed me how to use what my family's done for me, and how, you know, friends, individuals, people that, you know, how you turn what people in your past have done to you into motivation, so to speak, instead of having resentment. Because I drank a lot trying to cover everything up. I'm no different than you and the rest of them. We drink to cover that shit up and to numb it. Because it does, it just numbs it. You know, but then every now and then that emotion of shame and guilt that the spirit of alcohol gives us, because that's not a man-made that's not a God emotion. That's an emotion that comes through a spirit of death, alcohol. And it does, you know. You know, because it's a hell of a thing because everybody thinks about TAKINGTHEIRLIFE. Everybody thinks about that. You know, finishing it. And that's what that spirit does to us. It slowly decays us. It slowly deteriorates everything around us. It controls where we work. It controls what we do. It controls how we speak. It controls where we go in public. It controls our bank account. See, when you can start thinking about it like that, you know, and then you don't want to get into, I heard this a lot through everything I've been through, I just want to be normal. What is that? What is normal? What does that mean? You know, and the best I can get is well, man, I just want to drink a few beers and just that's it. But what if you're not built to drink a few beers or a few shots or whatever? Because you're not what they sell. Now, if you made it from scratch, yeah, and you wouldn't understand, because you don't understand the magnetism and the water and all that. So, you know, you got to understand what we're dealing with here. It's crazy, because when you can see how they've glorified a demon, you know, and put sports stars around it, selling it, sponsoring it, and saying that's when, if you can get into real research, find out who you are, and then find out these are brands. This shirt and the neck, it has a logo on it, and that's a brand. Nike is a brand. They used to brand, who did they used to brand? Exactly. And now we wear the brands willingly because they sell it on the TV. And what else do they sell on the TV? The spirit of death, alcohol. And the PILLS's, same thing. whatever you're doing, it's making the same emotions in you, man-made emotions. And see, when we sleep under the influence of all that shit, our soul never gets no rest. No, it doesn't get any, it can't recover because it's under the influence. It's numbed out. And even if we're taking the PILLSs legally, it still kills it. Even if you're trying to get better, going to one of these psychiatrists or something, you're getting those. And those are not what you're made of. Does that make sense? In order to get your brain better, you got to put in what you're made of. Alkaline water, you know, I'm being for real too. Get honey. Get about 2 ounces of honey from where you live in your local area, and get some cinnamon. You know, once a day. Heat that up, get some lemon, squeeze in it, stir it up. That cinnamon and that honey and that lemon go into your body, and it'll jumpstart it. And see, and they don't teach you all that because they can't. The more you don't know, the more you'll be in there. The more you'll be searching. You know, I need answers. You ain't gonna get them. And see, and I don't have all those pieces of paper, so there's no fucking way that nobody's gonna listen to me because they've been programmed. The same way the alcohol's programmed us and the pills is the same way the damn TV and careers and positions and all that has careered the dummies. Pieces of paper. They don't have experience. We do. Accept that right now before you go any further, because the more you try to tell some people about some things, listen, check this, no, they ain't going to listen to you because of your past. They see you for who you once were, not for who you will be or who you are now. Ever. Ever. I'll have 8 years Saturday since I walked out of the fucking hospital with nothing. Nothing at all. No headache, nothing. Nothing. It's insane. You would think the fucking news around me would be like, hey, we're going to talk to this guy. He's blasting, but they can't. They're all together. And when you accept that, that's when the real magic begins. That it's all lies. You got to look within you. And then once you see you, you'll see the world for what it is. And you really are chosen. I ain't lying either. Everybody else is just, it's sad to say this, but you're in a simulation. And right now your soul and your spirit's trying to break out of it. That's why you're confused. And once you can accept that shit, you know that every little thing that you have is meant to hurt you. All of it. The foods hurt the people just as much as what hurts us. And it does. It truly does. You know. But I mean, back in the day, you know, it's just because I was with my ex for over a decade and a half. You know, that's a long time. And she dealt with a lot. And then before that, I was with an individual, this Puerto Rican girl. She's hot as hell too. But she recognized the drinking. You know, I guess, because I mean, it wasn't bad. Not around her. It's just, I was selling drugs and everything else. So she kind of saw that. And I guess kind of, you know, because women can see the future more than men can. Because we just live in the day. That's it. Hell, or we're just planning on that vacation and we don't think about nothing else in between. That's if we're in the world. You know. But I mean, I would go to the Japanese steakhouses. Listen, I feel healthier now than I ever have, and I feel younger. But anyways, we would go to the Japanese steakhouses, and I ain't lying, this is when me and her owned a restaurant. and we would go to this Japanese steakhouse, and that's when I would drink Bloody Marys. And man, there's a whole lot more to the story too, with my family and my mom and everything else. But we would go to this restaurant, and whenever we would get there, they would have 2 Bloody Marys ready for me. And, you know, I always wanted my shit top shelf. And I was like, I won't be able to see through it. And it was straight juice. I'm talking about straight gasoline with a little juice on top, a little Bloody Mary, but it was good. And I'd end up drinking 7 or 8, because my youngest daughter, which is 17 now, she would drink the soup through a baby bottle. That's what they'd do for her. You know, and then go home and drink God knows how many beers. You know, and that's a lot. And seeing during that time, I had built the brain. I have to get into the cell salts, because your brain's deficient. That's why we shake and have withdrawals. That's another video. But anyways, I don't know who that is. What was I saying? I guess I'll talk about the withdrawals. I was building up a tolerance for, you know, if we drink for 20 years, then we're going to have to come out of it for 20 years. That's one way of looking at it. The world thinks you're going to change overnight, and so do the ones. Here's pills. You got to work on yourself and get real, get natural. You know, exercise and read. The mind and the body work together. And I had built up just partying every day. You know, even just drinking, you know, before mowing the yard or whatever, shit like that. And drinking in the afternoon and drinking, you know, because I know people that can do it now, but I just couldn't drink water in between, you know, there for a while. It was just drink. It's crazy. But I mean, I had built up in my brain years of drinking. And so it was going to take years of coming out of it. And truthfully, I'm still in basically what I did the first day. I try to do the same thing every day. You know, granted, if I have to work, but I'm reading, I'm studying. You know, I do exercise, not as hard or nothing like I used to, but I'm fixing to get back into it. And show the world I'm 46 now, and blow every fucking person, every man out there away that's my age with cell salts that people have never heard about and prove, but they don't ever get anywhere. It never will, trust me. I'll be dead and gone before that shit happens. It's what you're made of. You need to get online right now and find Cali-Phos, potassium phosphate. What is it? Oh shit. Dr. Schuessler. You need to get those. Dr. Schuessler. You can get the 12 or just get the 1 Cali-Phos. And it's the potassium phosphate. It's the brain fluid. You take 30 a day. 10 in the morning, 10 in the afternoon, 10 at night. It's what you're made of. Don't worry about it. See, you're already like, is that safe? That's what people say. And I'm like, it's what you're fucking made of. You're not made of chemicals. You're crazy. I'm like, you're programmed. Those commercials with the, oh, look how happy we are. It's like, no, they're not. It's an agenda. Look, all of them people on them PILLSs are dumber than we ever was. All they do is play games and do nothing with their life. That's what we did. But yet they get to go, you know how stupid you are. Yeah, well, you're lucky. You get to work on yourself. We'll talk about withdrawals here, though. I'll do that for the next one. Love you. Hell yeah.